Yeah, let me do my goofy intro of
Yeah, do
that.
your goofy intro. Let's see this.
All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Persian perspective, as I like to call it nowadays. Again and again and again, I hate that name, but hey, it helps with the SEO tremendously. So, welcome everybody. Now, today I have a very special guest all the way from America. I knew due to the current climate, political heat weird, it might be weird for a Persian and a American to be speaking, but now here we are, and hopefully it'll be an interesting show. So,
I hope so too. Thank you for having me.
oh, anytime, man. So how's it going with you, Adam? By the way, do you want me to
Um,
go by your name, or you want me to give you
yeah,
a alias?
no, yeah, that's well, it's out of the bag now, so it's gonna have to work.
Yeah, for me,
So
I'm also under an alias. For me, I'm like, oh fuck,
I understand that though.
yeah, I got more at stake here.
Yeah, given how things are back home, yeah, I can definitely understand that.
Yeah, pretty bad, man. So tell me, how's it going with since Joe Biden came around here in US? Has
You,
it
you know,
changed?
it, yeah, it's weird. I'm going to be honest about how I fall politically. Um, I was kind of secretly hoping Trump would get elected. I'm
Yeah.
by no means, I was no means a Trump supporter. I thought it would be a big joke. I thought it'd be great. I was like, it'll be like The Apprentice nonstop. But and then he got elected, and I was like, oh, this is going to be hilarious. But actually, I thought, what's actually going to happen is he's going to settle down and he's going to behave like any other normal president, right? And then when he didn't, I was like, oh shit, what's about to happen? So yeah, it was a shit show for like the longest, for the entire term that he was president. And when I would travel, that's all anybody wanted to ask me about because I do a little bit of travel. I travel around Europe and some other places, and that's the first question anybody wants to talk about. Like, so how do you like Trump? And it's like I don't like that clown. He doesn't represent me. Um, but I have to say that back to your question, how's it been since Trump left? It's been strangely silent. It's like you don't even know we have a president.
Yeah.
um, and that's a good thing, but at the same time, it feels weird. It's almost like the calm before another storm because that guy's not done yet.
Funny you mentioned like it's been strangely silent. I felt the same, even though I'm not an American. I was like, man, I'm used to seeing this guy. I was telling my friend, we were talking about Trump. I said, I have thought about Trump every day since the day he got elected. Like this guy, one way or another, was part of my everyday life, if I like it or not. And
Isn't
now
that
that he's
stupid?
gone, it's like, what? What? Is it over? Where did he go? It's
It
just,
doesn't feel real, right?
no, it doesn't feel real one bit. To the fact that that guy managed to make an impact on my life, to be like every day at least I would see him one way or another on the news, some new weird shit that he said or some interesting shit that he did. It was odd. And now he's gone, and I'm like, what's gonna be happening? And then Biden is like very quiet.
He is extremely quiet. He is moving. Things are getting done here. I mean, they're claiming to make progress with vaccines and the fight against COVID, even to the point of starting to export the vaccine. But that's a whole other topic right there. So,
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's a whole other shit
it's
show.
strange and it's embarrassing too. As an American, it's embarrassing that other people know so much. It's like having your dirty laundry out in everyone else's face.
Yeah.
It's extremely embarrassing for a lot of us. So I'm happy to have the quiet for a change.
Yeah, but the thing is like I don't know what the Trump Knight just opened up his blog. The fact that look, here's the thing. As an Iranian, I quite love the that he put you guys on a spotlight for a change. I was like,
Hmm.
take it. How you like them apples? And I was like, oh, like look, we're not the only ones who have idiots around. We're not the only ones that have all this kind of shit going on for us. This is like you will find one guy who manages to change the system so much that. Do you know Jordan Peterson?
I do know Jordan Peterson.
Yeah, he mentioned something. He said, "I guarantee you, there's many people." And actually, I don't think he even needs to tell it by guarantee. I know human being by fact would do that. That they went to vote for Hillary, and at the last second they had this feeling like, oh, the hell with a Trump, just because he was such an enigma of like, I feel like he's gonna change things up a little bit.
Oh, he definitely changed things, absolutely. But I mean, and not well. I was hoping, and this last election didn't prove what I was hoping to be true, and that he would serve as a catalyzing force, right? That maybe we would elect such a ridiculous candidate to office, and that it would become, such a big thing that people would wake up and say, "Hey, is this really where we are? And do we need to come back and have a more, balanced discussion?" But what you saw in the elections was that people were still completely polarized right down the middle, and he did nothing to ease those. In fact, he polarized people even further. He was talking about that our vote had been sabotaged, that the election results weren't to be counted or weren't being counted correctly, and that people need to rise up and revolt. And it's madness, and all of this in the midst of a pandemic when people are already pretty on edge. So yeah, it's a nice relief not to hear his voice anymore.
Yeah, it is a nice relief. But yeah, everybody thought like that guy might like shift the balance of the power slightly, or because like your system is not perfect by any stretch of the imagination.
We think it is, but don't tell us that.
Yeah.
Right? we have to export democracy, right, to everybody, including the people that don't want it and don't care for it and can see the flaws in it. And of course, our crony capitalism. We've got it figured out. We'll show everyone how to do it right. We're going to police the world.
I started doing stand-up comedy, and I said it's honestly real. It's a real dream, and I said America. I'd rather a Nazi attack Iran than an American, because I did get into a conversation with an American who was like so. The problem was that like he wasn't like you. He had a bit of an arrogance to him, like. He had I bet like his bedsheet is American flag, and he was like, it's going to be very good that we'll help you guys topple the Ayatollahs, and like he really expected me to be like, yeah, dude, totally. And
he doesn't remember the Shah, right?
Yeah, he wanted to do that. He was like, we're gonna bring back the Shah, the Crown Prince of Iran. It's gonna be great. That piece of shit is any good. And
you didn't get the memo. He's dead, right? So
yeah. He was like, we bring back his retarded son. And he said, and I said, like, dude, I'd rather a Nazi destroy Iran than an American. He said, why? He said, because you guys are Nazis with better publicists, but the Nazis themselves are more honest. They have the skulls and everything. Their national anthem is like, we will fuck you up. But you guys are going to come with doves and shit and be like, you're welcome.
No, we're exporting democracy and freedom and capitalism. Of course, that's what we're doing. No, I totally feel you. I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah. And he got upset. He called me a sand nigger.
Wow.
Yeah. And I got more upset. I was like, can you just be a little bit more original and give me a title that actually belongs to us?
Well, I mean, I do believe the term Aryan did come from Iran. So there you go.
We used to be pretty close with the Germans. So.
Such an angry language. I hope you don't have a lot of German people that'll get offended, but it's a very angry language just listening to it.
Yeah, it is. Well, it's a language of
lovely
getting
people.
Things done.
Yes.
Move forward and kill everything that's not you.
I have yet to go to Germany yet. I would love to visit.
My best friend is in Germany right now, and he's Syrian and not a refugee. He went there by the sweat of his what do you call it? Sweat of his brow, whatever. And really worked hard for it. But yeah, it's interesting with the climate over there currently, and it's just like the race. There's still racism. There are refugees, yeah, everything, but there's still like that essence in the air. Like they try to hold back. It's like you're talking to a white person who's like, it's like somebody calls you the N-word without calling you the N-word. It's
They,
like,
they use different types of language to dance around it,
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I can call you apples and oranges, but like in reality, I'm still like having that racial bias towards you. So I'm,
And I know what I mean, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
you know who.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
you know what I'm saying.
so yeah, I would love to go to Germany as well. If the fucking COVID allows me. So
I'm interested about this guy that you were having the conversation, the True Blood. Ooh, America, fuck yeah.
yeah.
Did he travel? Has he seen the world? I mean, has he been outside of his box? Because I think that's what of a lot of Americans. We're really stuck. We don't get out much. I mean, you go to most other countries and people get out. They learn about other cultures. They travel, right? You yourself are traveling right now. I mean, you're not home,
No,
right?
I'm not
So
home. No.
so
The-
like, what's this guy's story?
That guy, I didn't. The thing was that he had the arrogance of. The thing is, in Asia, white people are quite worshipped. It's and I'm like trying to not water down or be insulting to the Asian people, but like recently it has kind of changed, but it's still there. It's still very much there. The problem is that so their worship, they're kind of given a lot of leeways. I know a white dude with a diploma from Italy who just came here, and the manager of a very, very successful mall here just gave him the managerial level position to manage this section of the groceries and everything in the not the grocery. He's like,
Like a
this is a
district
very
manager.
yeah, this is a very posh mall. And I was like, how did you get it? He said, I'm white. Like I said, are you qualified? Did you test for it? He's like, no, he just liked me, he just gave it to me. So a lot of people who also come here to work come here because that there's a certain like, oh, hello, white man, come here and do the thing. So there is that it gets into their head though. The problem is that it gets into their head and it causes a lot of bad shit stuff to happen. They do a lot of crazy stuff. It says like they suffer from the left and right neck syndrome, which is like they're all like lovey-dovey, but then they just do the just that they do the look to the left, look to the right. That's to say something racist to you.
Gotcha. Oh yeah. I know what you're saying now. I'm
Yeah.
tracking.
Yeah, then they're like, oh, I was like, oh, I love this country. The people are so great. Then it's like, okay, like, let me tell you about the people here, man. They're so lazy. They don't do anything. And I was like, motherfucker, you were working in 7-Eleven in your country. You managed to land a job here. Just admit that you're a nothing. You just got something here and be grateful for it. I'll die to be in your position. Can I have your skin?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So his shtick was that he came from a very arrogant place, and when you say like Americans don't get out of their bubble, it's very, very true. And I can't blame him. You guys live in an entire continent. You guys you guys is a too great of a big of a country to you're gonna have to spend your whole lifetime seeing different things in it.
I mean, even the maps themselves. I mean, like America's blown out to be a lot bigger than it actually is. I mean, but we don't have nearly the culture, the history that other places in the world have. People ask me that haven't come, they're like, what's America like? And I was like, it's McDonald's and mini malls. That's really what it is. It's it's cookie cutter stuff. There is no real culture or history. We just got born basically a couple hundred years ago, so we don't even know who we are. And a lot of the people that live here haven't done anything. They won't go outside of their bubble. And even when we do, we're by and large, I'm not labeling all Americans, but a lot of us are very arrogant.
Yeah.
We'll go to another country and expect somebody else to speak our language.
Exactly.
Which is really insulting. We get insulted too when somebody does that to us. If somebody comes in our country, doesn't speak English, it's like, go back to wherever you came from, speak English.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's the kind of the way they all so like for example, like even a good friend of mine, I said to him, Merry Christmas, dude. Okay, for him, he's an American, and he was like, man, I'm speechless. Like, do you say Merry Christmas to the other religions as well? is it all right? And I was like, bitch, I don't give a fuck. I was like, I'm like, I'm like, I can't blame him because he legitimately had zero clue what my culture or other people's culture are. He just came out of the bubble, and I just said Merry Christmas because it was Christmas. My
Yep.
mind was that, hey, Happy New Year to you. For him, it was like such a big deal. Like, I didn't know you would do that. I was like,
I'm not saying that I do.
I'm just want to wish you a good year, my friend. That's it. Like, I don't give. How about you just say the same back to me and move on with your life?
Yeah. Happy holidays if you're not sure, right?
Yeah, happy holidays if you're not sure. So that American dude also here, he get to say the things he liked to say. I didn't mind that he didn't get into quite a bit of a beef. I mean, I did got kicked out of the club because I told him to go fuck himself. But
Good for you.
yeah,
Screw that guy.
yeah, screw that guy. But yeah, it's like when they're here, they kind of get a little bit. Their ego is boosted by times 10 because there's a lot of leeway given to them, and they feel like, oh, I know. They like put their hand on the shoulder of other people and be like, you don't understand, but I understand.
Yeah.
So it's pretty fucked up, but it's kind of shifting a little bit. Like there was talking about the arrogance is like there were prior to COVID, there were a lot of backpackers, European backpackers who will come here and beg.
Really?
Yeah, become beggars to pay for their trips.
Mm-hmm.
It was a shitty thing, but understandably, they made a lot of money doing that. It's like the guy would have a guitar, play a very bad version of Beatles song, and people would be like, "Oh, white man, here's money." While the other race, so the Indian guy, was like 2 blocks away begging for money, wasn't getting shit.
Yep.
And it was such an outrage that the government here was like, if we have another beggar here, it was like, get the fuck out right now. We'll
No more
put you on a
no
jet.
more white people busking. Yeah, that's it. No more busking from white people.
Exactly.
But you would probably rather see him busking than just getting handed the keys to the mini mall, right?
Yeah. That's very, very fucking true. Yeah, so that's it. How are you doing, by the way, now in the whole situation? And
It's been really strange in my field of work. Like I work in IT, and
yeah,
so I've been able to be remote this entire year. And I absolutely hate it because I'm a people person. I like to talk to people,
yeah,
but I'm fortunate. I'm blessed. I'm not crapping on that. I'm not shitting on that, because there's a lot of people that over here, blue collar type jobs that are out of work. So it's been an interesting year, and it's given me some perspective on things about what matters. So I haven't quit my job, but I'm leaving my job, and I'm moving someplace I want to be. And the politics here are getting a little bit weird too, in terms of just vaccination passports, and it's strange.
yeah. Which state are you at right now?
I'm currently in Illinois, so Chicago area.
Oh, okay.
Which it's a fine place. Lots of people like it. I'm gonna move south, closer to the beach, in 2 months, and I'm really looking forward to that. That's gonna be awesome. But yeah, it's been weird. This whole year, like, it went from 0 to like 100 in no time at all. Like, there was business as normal, and all of a sudden everything shut down, and it's been that way ever since March of last year.
Yeah.
They're talking about coming back in maybe the next month, but I'm skeptical. I think that this stuff probably isn't over. We'll see variants. We'll see some new version. But it's I don't know. It's I was there for 9/11. In fact, speaking of idiot Americans, I was one of those. Well, I probably still am, but I was more of an idiot American back in 2001 when 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
That was the catalyzing force that made me join the military. Was, oh my God, some of those dirty people from the Middle East came over and attacked us, and we gotta, bleed for our country and show them who's the boss, right? I ate that stuff up.
You were in New York?
I wasn't in New York. I was actually in Texas, which is even more, conservative. It's big hats and big guns type of state.
Yeah,
totally as far right as you can go, conservative. And that stuff happened, and I strapped on my red, white, and blue, and I joined up, and it was it was an interesting experience because being a linguist, I got to interact with other cultures. I got taught, my Persian teachers, Agay Nefisi, Halawi Wise, Agay Mordezai, they didn't just teach us the language, they taught us the culture.
Ah,
And it was cool. We were supposed to learn how to read, write, and speak in the space of like 10 months. And Mr. Nafisi, I was his favorite person in the tournament. He hated me, or at least I thought he did. Like he'd always, and that's why I identify with your name. In class, my name was Ardavan.
oh shit.
And he would tell me, like, when I'd be in class, he's like, Ardavan, inshallah, you pass. And I'm like, oh, thanks. So like, that's a tremendous vote of confidence. I really appreciate that. And we had these long hours and we're studying, and he would chuck pins at me, like if I kind of dozed off for a second, like like the markers.
Yeah.
One time he took his shoe off and whacked me upside the head with it. So
That's a very Persian thing to do.
So we got a little bit. I know it's not the full Persian experience, but I got a little bit of a taste of it, and just learning about the food and the culture and why people think what they do, and it kind of opened your eyes about the world and as you see it and how you choose to consume it. There's this thing called confirmation bias, that you listen to the things you want to listen to, and the things that are hard for you to hear, you kind of tune them out.
Yeah.
And after some of those classes, and then eventually going to the Middle East, started kind of giving me it's like, oh wow, the world's not how I pictured it. It's not bad people and good people. It's not that Americans are good. In fact, Americans are doing a lot of crappy stuff, and we're learning about the history of how Iran got to be where it is, and then later Afghanistan and what happened back in the 70s, and the Russians and all this other stuff. It's like, wow, the US has its finger in everyone else's face, and usually a lot of the problems that started are when the US got involved, or at least in some back doorway. It was an eye-opening experience. I would never advocate anybody joining the military. I mean, don't ever be somebody's puppet, but it was good to get outside of my own bubble and to learn the world's a lot bigger, that there's good people all over the place, and that there's extremism all over the place. There's a lot of extremism right here in the States. Now everybody's seen it. So that was a long rant, but
no, it's all right. Yeah. It's interesting. How many languages do you speak, by the way?
I speak Persian, Farsi, and Pashto, and I was going for a Dari dialect course, but I was done with the military at the time.
Pakistan, like North Pakistan, Afghanistan, and Persia, like area covered up.
Yeah, I got all that central
languages.
Yeah, the Waziristan specifically is. It's interesting. I thought my Pashto was terrible, and then come to find out that even Pashtuns don't understand Pashtuns if you go far enough. So, it's two. I'm no longer proficient at any of them, but what I like about it though is getting to see somebody else's culture, getting to walk in somebody else's shoes. When I was in Afghanistan, I had people that had so little money that they were trying to give me their food, and it would have been rude of me to say no. So you had the food, but it opens your eyes to kind of like, what are the repercussions of these actions? America's going around, feeling all great about themselves, and they shouldn't be. We've got some serious accountability issues that need to be addressed, specifically with our politicians. And I think there's a lot of people that don't know this. I think there's others that are kind of half awake. I hope I'm in that group. But just this long way of saying that I don't think all Americans are like that. I think there's at least a subset that are kind of half awake. But we still have a long way to go. And it feels bad that our problems become other people's problems. Like you knowing about what my president is doing is embarrassing for me.
What your president is doing is embarrassing for you?
Yeah, like that my president is a factor in your life when you're a world away.
Yeah,
that's.
I mean, we wanted to vote for you guys.
Yeah, right.
We were like, oh, let me go there and vote. These guys are gonna be fucking everything up. And they did. Like what the like here's the thing, I'll let you know, but like I think the damage that Trump did to the American policy and whatever the position of America is at the moment will be shown in the next, not now, 8 years, like not 2024 and 2028. That's when it's really going to shine what he built at the 4-year time that he had. And I'm not talking out of my ass here. I'm talking out of experience, like with Ahmadinejad, the president that we had.
Mm-hmm.
Now he had an 8-year run, okay, and the amount that he did damage to the country during those 8 years was enough to send country 1,000 years back.
Yep.
But the real repercussions of his actions were felt now. That you go like, oh fuck, this is not recoverable. We're done. This is it. So that's how I feel like about Trump, because Ahmadinejad was every day on the news. We've had him every day in our heads, one way or another. He just didn't have the Twitter, but he was on the news. BBC. He loved to be on BBC. He loved to be on CNN. He loved that. And Trump had the same, but he had the Twitter as well. So, and each one of his tweets was like, God, it's like, he's like, one time he wrote, I was like, dude, somebody stop him. And one time he was like, he just wrote one tweet, China. And then another one, what was it? The one, the Kwafefe, that everybody were like on his shit.
It was like he was constantly setting the bar lower and lower and lower, or maybe higher, I guess, is the the new Trump bar, to like, how more over the top can I get? It was almost like a caricature. He was playing some type of role to see if he could outdo himself every day. It's insane.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about Ahmadinejad when, and that's
very similar to each other. Right? Incredible egos. Love the publicity, love to be seen, love to be taken. They love their pictures being taken with somebody else, with another president, with another whatever. So that was it. Like, this guy just wrote letters to North Korea, went to take a picture with them over the border, wrote a gangster letter to Turkey's Erdogan. Don't be a fool. I'll call you later. I was like, this motherfucker.
He's representing, bro.
This is like gangster shit. So he had that going for him, which was admirable. And I also think that and I truly believe the woke culture in US helped him become elect.
Yep.
The Stephen Colbert, the John Oliver, these late night hosts, other late night hosts that you have that are like supposed to be the intellectuals that are like get the viewerships. I watched them and I was like, I hope they know how much they're helping him, because they making the people who gonna vote feel like an idiot. Because they, especially like Colbert is a prime example. He is, I don't like him as a late night host. I really just don't. He's not funny at all. Like, it's all about him really, and what he can show off. But that for me, like, even I'm not an American, I'm thinking like, if I watch him every night dictating to me like, you don't get it, this is what Trump is, I get it. I'm the smart guy here, and I'll be like, well, fuck you, I'm gonna go vote for him.
Exactly.
They really helped out with that guy becoming the president, and well, everything that he did technically. So.
See, I'm not familiar. So you're saying Colbert had something to do with Ahmadinejad, or?
No, with Trump. Sorry.
Oh, with Trump. Gotcha.
Yeah, no, Ahmadinejad was I don't think Colbert was around when Ahmadinejad.
I was the president.
No. When Colbert's campaign and other late night hosts like John Oliver, who like had this talks, I think the way they treated the public with the information they were giving, and the way they were getting, like, look, I am the intellectual one here, and I'm dictating to you what you should believe or not. For me, it was like, that's not gonna rub people the right way.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I agree that they would be so much of a driving force to pushing people, because if you don't like the way they speak, you're automatically going to tune out, because we don't have honest reporting anymore like we used to have. You got your news and you didn't get the opinions loaded in. It's like, here's X, Y, and Z, here's what happened. But that's not what we have anymore. Now we have, and there was a a film back in the 70s that talked about this. It's underrated, probably never seen a film called Network, which had these kind of, it was talking about the transition of the media from reporting news to just reporting entertainment and reporting opinion. And so that's what we have now. So we have pretty much, you fall on two sides. You're either on like, far left, far right, and you're getting it from CNN or Fox, and either one, it's, it's basically one flavor or the other, but it's slanted. It's an opinion. Here's what you should believe. Here's what you should think. And so all of us are falling on one of those sides, or some of us are trying to ride the middle and learn from both. But it's played into this whole cultural, like a confirmation bias, right? Where like I want to listen to what I want to believe that there's a bunch of evil people out there, that they can be classified and they come from one country or a group of countries, probably the Middle East, right? Yeah. And they're the boogeymen and we have to keep them out, or they're the Mexicans trying to get across the border. Yeah. Or maybe you believe that everybody's good and great and social medicine for everybody and everything's fantastic. But there is no more true, honest reporting anymore. So we're left to our own devices or to get our sources like YouTube or other places.
Yeah, listen to Joe Rogan and stuff like that.
Yeah, Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah, like I get my news from him. I'm like, all right, like because like one of the points I was trying to make regarding that is like the news is never about the news anymore. It's about what Colbert thinks of the news. Anderson Cooper, for example. I'm not listening to him giving me the news. I'm listening to him showing off. That is like, I'm the Mr. Know-It-All, and the news is about me, Anderson Cooper, taking on Trump. That's not what journalism is supposed to be about. Journalism is about you on the ground. You give the best you can, the most neutral thing you can find, the facts, and you hand it to somebody else. I don't need your filter on your thoughts into this. I just need to know what happened.
Yeah, all the speculation too. Like as soon as a news story starts breaking, you'll get hours and hours of commentary and speculation. Well, this could be a terrorist attack, but we have no confirmation that it is a terrorist attack, but it could be, and it probably could be, Assad attacking his own civilians, blah, blah, blah. And all this speculation gets floated now. I totally agree with that. And at the end of the day, where does that news come from? It comes from, the people that control the news companies, and they want to keep people divided and not focused on where the real issues are, which is in our politics, in our laws. Watch for the boogeyman, but don't look at who's actually pulling the strings.
Exactly. There you go. Fucking hell, man. And what do you think is going to happen in the coming years, man? Because like right now, I don't know if you're going to go to a war. I'm not sure if Iran and US is ever going to be on a head-on collision. I don't think neither one can afford it.
They're building up the same phony case they did though against Iraq, right? The weapons of mass destruction. At least with Iraq, you have a country that's actually done some offensive action in the past century, right? So I mean, at least there's something to build up a case there. But if you look at a map, and I think a lot of Americans might even struggle just to find Iran on a map, but look at Iran and every single country that's around it has in some way or another been affected or been directly influenced by U.S. either through politics or direct military action. It's not unthinkable, and it's probably even what's the word I'm looking for? It's sound to think that something's going to happen, or that they're going to trump up some kind of stupid. That's not a pun. They're going to come up with some charges or some type of phony accusation that they need to intervene on some military course. How dare the Iranian people have any kind of say over their own government or their own policies or control of their own oil? We saw that back with the Shah, and the U.S. probably won't be happy until they have something similar again.
No, they don't. But now the problem is that like the China and Russia pretty much took over, and they're not happy about that either. And it's like a piece of a pie. Everybody was like, well, why don't I? Why can't I get some of that pie? It sucks, man. It really, really sucks, because especially with the China and Russia, it's like they're not giving anything to Iran. If you notice, they're not. No. They're consuming, kind of giving things when they need to, like when it serves them. But that's it. It's like never. It's like Are they going to support Iran with the military force, like military supplies? Not really. They were supposed to, like, I mean, Russia, like, for example, was like supposed to give like S-300 missiles to Iran. They pushed that away for like months on end. They did it like years on end until like they were kind of forced into giving those to Iran. Turns out they gave the codes to Israelis. China, I think I remember this was like they sold submarines to Iran, military submarines that didn't work in the Persian Gulf because the Russia is a cold climate, so the submarines were meant for cold waters. And the second they entered the heavily salted waters of the Persian Gulf with the temperature of 2000, the submarines were like, "Fuck this," you know. So it's a very one-sided relationship to see what benefits them. We have an election coming up, so that's going to be interesting to see what happens. I haven't
caught up on the news with that yet in a while. I haven't listened to Radio Fardan forever, but like, you know, we're
Ahmadinejad is running again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Wow.
Last time he actually tried to run again, but they said he's not qualified. So they avoided him to even become a candidate. But this time he did run and he managed to sign up. So I assume he might be still somewhat involved. I'm not sure. It's a shit show, man. It's a fucking shit show. I'm done with it.
I mean, you got to feel on some level that you want to go home, right? At some point. And I mean,
yeah.
Sure, do you have family, friends? I mean,
yeah, I have family and friends there. But the thing is, like, what is your question exactly?
How do you want it to play out? Like, what would be your ideal scenario?
I don't know. Brother, the thing is like, I just want. People are in lines to buy chickens. You see, people are now queuing up to buy chicken, government chicken.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want that. Like, my friends are suffering around. Really, they don't have the money to buy a chicken. Like it's that expensive now. I want the sanctions to be lifted. I just want to be able to get by, everybody to live, because Iran is not a poor country.
No.
But the sanctions has literally break the back of the people. The government is doing fine. The people are fucked. Literally fucked. Like, my friend was telling me, it's like a kg of, this was like 5 years ago, my friend told me, and now it's maybe 5 times the price, 4 times the price. You know Tuman, right? Our currency. Yeah. Real and Tuman.
I don't know Tuman.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird thing. So it's like, yeah, it's the same it's our part of our currency, and it's like 1,000 Tuman used to equal to $1. Okay, right. And my friend said, a kg of cheese, 1 kg of cheese I wanted to buy, because we have a lot of the variety of cheeses, and like our favorite breakfast is always bread and cheese with sweet tea. And he said 1 kg of cheese I had to buy for 30,000 Tumans.
30,000. So what is that? That's like what, $30.
$30 USD. $30. That would be 30 USD, but that was 5 years ago. So. But I'm talking about 1 kg of cheese used to be 900, 1,000 Tuman. That's it. Like, it was cheap. It was cheap to get. Like, so it has been like times 3, times 30. It's bad. And that's just the cheese. And there was a chef who has migrated to Canada, I think. He said, I'm getting letters from Iran asking me to what recipes we can cook with chicken bone.
Jesus.
So my ideal scenario is only that, like, just let things go let people do the work that they want to do. Nobody loves conflict. Okay?
Some people do, but none of us do.
Yeah. Nobody wants to be in Americans do. How many wars you guys are in? Jesus. But it's like nobody really wants to be in a situation that is like constantly in a battle or like in a protest. I just hope that it will be enough for people to get by, get the medicines that they need. My friend used like I have another friend who's a teacher and he's like near 60 years old now and he's supposed to be retired.
Yeah.
He can retire because he can't afford to retire. And he works like God knows like um like considering the traffic how bad the traffic is in Tehran is like he's at least on the road 4 hours a day, working another 8 hours, 7 hours. And he says like when I come back home, I'm like a dead meat on the bed. I just hope that it will be peaceful enough. I hope there won't be any war. Whoever comes about around to be able to clean it up, but I doubt it will happen. That's it. Like I don't have any like I don't have high hopes. I don't have illusions of grandeur. Like let's bring back the shot for what? He's like let's bring back like I hate his son. His crown prince,
Mm-hmm.
the Reza Pahlavi is like,
Mm-hmm.
and I see like people are all like, oh my god, if he comes back, it's good. For what? He's a lunatic. He's a retard. He hasn't worked a day of his life. Oh yeah, let's bring him up. That's gonna fix all our problems. I just hope that the regime and everything like kind of mellow out a little bit and allow the people to work. And I just hope the corruption goes away because you're thinking about corruption. It last week there was report 30,000 tons of stainless steel was missing. Iranian produced steel was missing. 30,000 tons. Like where did it go?
He put it in a different part. It's fine. Like,
Yeah.
we'll find it.
It's either China got it or Russia got it or somebody just sold it in the black market. But it's like I just hope that the corruption goes away. People be able to travel. Like I want to have easier visa process.
Yes.
I want to like I don't want to even want like fuck it. I don't want to immigrate. But the thing is like what was it? My talking about Germany. A friend of mine is a recruiter in Germany, and he's not Iranian. He's a headhunter basically. And he said like the Iranian applications just closed before they even open. Like when we have somebody applying for a job, we close it before it opens. I said, what do you mean? It was like even if you're qualified, the company doesn't want to go through the process with trying to check in an Iranian
Yep.
because of the high risk. Like there was a recruiter actually told me because I'm really trying to land a job, man. I'm really trying to get my life somewhere. I cannot land it here, like that's for sure. And Southeast Asia does not have enough things for immigration, options available for immigration. And the recruiter said like, you guys are high risk country with the German authority
because of a bunch of rhetoric, but no actual. Well, I mean, there's all this trumped up charges about cuds and supporting Hamas and all this other crap, but a country that has not had any overt military action outside of its own borders and like what is it like? Shit, since it's got to be before like it's at least 100 years, if not more, right?
Yeah, we haven't had any real war for the past 100 years. No, more than 100 years, actually.
It's got to be like 1700s.
Yeah, 3-4, like since the Qajar dynasty, prior to the Pahlavi dynasty, we were basically we weren't colonized by the British, but we were part of the British territory. Like everything we owned was for the Brits. We never really had we had things taken away. Pakistan was part of our territory. Afghanistan was a part of our territory. Turkmenistan, Azerbaijan, half of the Caspian Sea was part of us. But now we're doing our shit too. We're not saints, okay?
I'm not saying that Iran. Like, there's definitely some rhetoric going on there and death to Israel shit, but
yeah.
But there's a difference between talk and action, and there's covert military support, but what country
Every
could say that
country
they're
is
not
doing
doing
that.
that? Yeah.
Every country is doing that. What was it? The ISIS fighters were getting supplies from Americans, and like it got like what's it called? They got caught on video a few times that the supplies landed like in the hands of ISIS, like not once but twice but three times. Like they were parachuted in,
Oh,
and they
don't
were
even get
like,
me started on that, man.
this is
Because
like made in USA, the grenade launchers. They had like Hummers and they got shit I haven't, even Americans don't have themselves.
they've got Amazon delivery straight to their door, and we're like, we don't know what's going on. Now, this is not a new thing. Like if you go back and look at history about how all these different, insurgent or extremist groups pop up and where they actually came from, it goes way back, man. Like I can't talk too much about what I used to do, but like, when I started, I worked in military intelligence, and, part of our job was to roll up, find extremists, stuff like that. And, so you start getting interested in these topics. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, where did the Taliban come from? What the hell is that? And who were the Mujahideen? And who is Charlie Wilson and Zygmunt Brzezinski? And
Yeah.
all of these questions start coming back. It's like, oh, wait a minute. These were our guys. We spun them up. We trained them. We gave them supplies and training and arms. And the same thing keeps repeating itself when you talk about what happened back with Assad in Syria, and talking about that he was gassing his own people. Oh, whoops, that was the resistance, that was the rebel fighters that actually happened to be U.S. trained, backed, and we have this historical pattern of creating a boogeyman, or actually exploiting people.
Yeah.
And training them and teaching them, and all of a sudden when it's convenient for us, we flip on them. Same thing when I was in the Middle East. Like I worked with a bunch of local guys that were really good guys. They were just like normal everyday guys, and we would try to swap stories, like what's your life like, what's my life like, and like what's America like, what's it like living here, and just good people. I mean, and they're getting rolled under this war machinery, which is built to extort resources, power, and control out of all the rest of us who are either willfully ignorant or just we choose to believe what we want to believe. That whole confirmation bias, like America's great. Is it really?
Yeah.
Look at what we're doing. And these other countries, same thing. I mean, America's not the only nasty one. We just happen to be the one that flexes the most. So it's and I'm concerned for Iran, like it being in the middle of everything, because like I learned a lot about the country. I wanted to go there, right? It's always been kind of a dream of mine to go there, and the way it looks is that's not going to be anytime soon, and not until people wake up, until people start paying attention. But Americans we've got our head up our ass. We don't want to open our eyes about what's going on in the world. We don't want to acknowledge what's happening, or we don't want to recognize that there aren't boogeyman that you can't just quantify and say that's the bad person.
The thing is, like, also there's like they have the idea that they had, like, especially with this maximum pressure ideology that it's on Iran with fucking sanction the toenails as well as like everything, every fucking like aspect of the. There was a senator that the reporter asked him, was like, "Is there any sanction you haven't done?" And he kind of paused and he like smiled, and he was like, "No, we ran out of sanctions." So the thing is, like, they think it will work, and trust if it was gonna work, it would have worked by now. And the thing is like, there's a mentality like, oh, if we attack, there are people who are gonna come on our side. That's something that they need to understand regarding Iranians and their Iranian mentality. This is just what I believe. I could be wrong. I could be proven wrong. I don't know when the push comes to shove, and if there is actual war, Iranians will kind of suddenly like unite again, even if it has to be uniting with the opposition or whatever they have to, because they don't like an outside interference, because we've been interfered constantly for the past several years, for the past centuries, constantly being bugged with. So it's like, oh, we're going to go and there's people going to come and join our cause. No, you're going to go there and you're going to have everybody going to be like, oh, no, you get the fuck out. It's my problem. Get the fuck out.
and as it should be,
It's
right?
not like Iraq, you see.
Yeah.
Iraq, people say Saddam Hussein was like this and that. The thing is, Saddam Hussein really knew how to rule that. As much corrupted he was, as bad as he was, Iraqis' mentality, they're a little bit more bloodthirsty. There might be a little bit more. How should I put it without being very offensive? But
Oh no, come on, be offensive.
it's like the thing is that Iraqis can be a little bit more primal. I don't know if that's the word.
Yeah, that's a word.
Primal or a little bit more extreme in many cases. They're far more extremist than Iranians. You see, that's why they can have their own. That's why they can kill and other their neighbors. That's why there's different militias just suddenly growing out of there because they have that background of the extremist background embedded in them. They can easily form, oh, now I'm the ISIS, now I am the Al Qaeda, now I am this new group, now I'm the other group, now I'm the KKK or whatever. There's a lot of factions in there. That's why when they attacked, everything just fell apart. And now the guy this Iraqi diplomat was saying, it's like, we had one Saddam and one Iraq. When Saddam is gone, we have multiple Saddams.
Yep.
Saddam's mentality was like, you listen to me. Oh, you don't? Oh, I'll kill you all. Extreme, but the country was like, for Iraq, it worked. The thing is, like, he managed to keep the economy was growing. I know an Iraqi medic here. I think he was in Iraq as well, war as well, here in Asia. And he was saying, is like, my education was free. The money was good. There was corruption. There was the corruption was bad. Like, you couldn't own a car unless you checked to see the Ubay, the son of the Saddam. If he hadn't had it, you couldn't have a new car. Once he had that car, then you're allowed to have it. Like, it was that bad. But it was really that bad. Like, there was a guy who imported a Mercedes that Ubay didn't have. And Ubay came around and said, okay, here's 3 Jaguars that I have, or here are 3 Hummers. Give me the Mercedes. Or if you say no, he'll kill you. So it was
at least he's offering a trade.
Yeah, it was a fair trade, but it's not like education was free, food was good, I could go travel, I was respected somewhat. There was the terror of like what would the sons do or the police would do, but it was nothing compared to what happened now, what we have now. So,
but it's not we've seen this same kind of thing play out throughout other countries as well. I mean, same thing happened in Afghanistan when we go in and we obliterate the country, we remove the infrastructure, we divide the people, you get them fighting for years between the U.S. and the Russians. They're like a linchpin. Same thing in Iraq, with the heavy sanctions that cost hundreds of thousands of lives, women and children that we put against Iraq. So, I'm right there with you. If I had political sway, my vote would be get the hell out of these other countries. If they want to have a religious theocracy, or if they want to have a Marxist system, or they want to be communist, let them be what they want to be. It's there. We have no right. We have no basis to interfere. But what's happened now is that you've got this big intelligence political machine that's grown up, which is able to drum up charges and not have to justify them. You go back to the Iraq War and weapons of mass destruction, right? Or incubator babies, or all this other bullshit that they use to justify a war. And of course, from America, we're America, we got to go in and save people. It's like, no, this is the intelligence community drumming up reasons to go into these countries. And why are they doing that? Because there are other things, there are lobbyists, there are political factors that are pushing them to do these things for resources, for control of a region. Strait of Hormuz is a hugely significant region of control. It's not any question why people are so focused on it. I mean, you're talking about moving almost a quarter of the world's oil through that tiny little narrow strait on a daily basis. It's not shocking that why everyone's got their eyes on Iran, and I think they're having problems justifying it. But in the end, they will find a way to justify it. They'll come up with some bullshit thing to say that, hey, we've got to come in, we've got to install a puppet, whatever it takes.
Yeah, good
It's
luck
like
with that.
it's like a foregone conclusion. This is how this stuff works. And if it's not the U.S. trying to do it, it's going to be Russia and China exerting forces and pressure. So Iran is in an unfortunate position, geographically significant, and pinned between a couple of pissing dogs trying to
Trying
fight
to
over it.
get chunks of it, really. The what was it? The no, damn it, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Sorry, I talked too long. My bad, bro.
No, it was my bad. It's okay. Yeah, well, whatever happens to Iran is gonna happen. I'm pretty sure the Palestine Israel situation currently might give them enough cause. I don't know. Something is gonna come out of that. I don't see a light coming out of it.
I was just reading stories. They're already. I like to go bounce between Fox and ABC and all these other different, political opinion pieces, but they're already drumming up support. They're like, is Iran conspiring with Hamas to inflict conflict in Israel?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
They're supplying
Exactly.
it with rockets and shit like that. So this is called false flags, and our government has been doing most of our governments have been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
They drum up the cause to rally the people. They present a problem, they try to control the reaction, and they deliver a solution. We'll go in and we'll help them have a democratic government because that's what they want.
Yeah.
It's like, no, they want you to fuck off and leave them alone. Iran is a young, I believe the population, if I remember correctly, is mostly a young, well-educated population, hardworking people that they can handle this shit if other people get the fuck out of the way.
They're doing that. Now, the second I saw that, I was especially Hamas showed a new rocket that they had that could go like, I don't know, 250 kilometers or some shit like that. I think I was like, shit, we're gonna that it's on us. It's most probably on, and we might most probably be like supplying it to them. The thing is like Iran's military is weak, so the only way they could do is through proxy. And that's the only way they could do it. So I don't blame it on that. But the thing is, blame that action. I would do it if I was the leader. I would be like, all right, we need to work with whatever we got. And this is what we got. We don't have F-16s anymore. The good old days. We don't have those stuff. But that's what we got. But the thing is like now that's going to be a new factor to be placed on Iran. Like they were already talking about wrapping up the JCPO, the nuclear talks in Vienna. They said like stop the nuclear talks because Iran is backing up Hamas and everything. I was like, oh shit. Israel is also like doing like it's all fucked up. The thing is like nobody says anything to it.
I think most people aren't informed. Most people, and they don't want to be. It's too much. You have to keep all of these moving pieces in your head. You have to have a context for how it all comes together. You have to know the history behind it. It's fucking exhausting trying to stay on top of it.
Yeah. And you can't say like they're wrong and this is right. And whenever you pick a side, you're in the shit show. You're like, oh, fuck, sorry, guys. But both of them are equally like, it's like, both of them have done it for so long that I think like both of them have turned into villains now.
I don't think there's any blameless country out there, but it's the people that are suffering for it. And now that our votes and our voices is kind of not really being heard. If, as an example, in our elections, they're saying that these are your options for the election, and I'm telling people I'm not voting because I don't agree with either one of those. And so the message is if you're not voting, you're part of the problem. And I'm like, no. That's not true. I was like, you're presenting a failed solution and telling me that I have to consent to that solution. It's like coming to my door and say, do you want to get shot in the left leg or the right leg? I don't consent to get shot in either leg. It's a bad option in either case. I'll write in who I think should be president.
Yeah.
Or Bernie Sanders. But
I love that guy.
Hey, if you can say anything about the guy, he's got some kind of scruples. He's somebody who doesn't pander, at least for the most part. Like he's got some kind of moral backbone. And it's weird for me being a hardcore conservative in my youth and kind of transitioning over to, hey, I think there is room for social programs. I think people should be entitled to an education. They should be entitled to healthcare, mental health care as well. Those should be, rights.
For a country as powerful as U.S., I would have expected 99% of these problems to be gone. You see, it's like I would assume that the healthcare would be free. I would assume education somewhat would be free. But then I'm hearing like, okay, student loans and healthcare. Every president that comes around, every election comes around, the candidates talk about free healthcare for everybody, and then they say, "Well, fuck off." After that, that's done. It's a empty promise. Actually, one of my jokes in the stand-up comedy that I did was regarding that. I said the USA is a country that people keep screaming why they don't have a proper healthcare, and every candidate comes around and they say like, "We'll give you a new healthcare." Yet the people really ignore that $80 million was given to two psychologists to come up with new methods of torture, and the best they could come up with was hummus enema. Do you know what hummus enema? Do you know that?
I know those two words. I've never heard them used in that context. And God, like, I hope we haven't resorted to such. That seems like that's small thinking. I could think of way better torture, and I would. I think between you and me, I think we could do much better, and we could price it much cheaper. I would settle for 20 mil.
I would settle for 20 million. Fuck it.
Wait, what happened to over a weekend? Yeah, what happened to like nipple or testicle clamps and car batteries? I mean, that works. I mean,
there you go, man.
There you go.
Give me a dildo and some barbed wire. I'll get you. I'll get some torture.
I'll confess right now for that. Okay.
I'm gonna patent that idea. But it was like I read the record that like $80 million was getting to. I forgot the name of the scientist. You can just search it. This is the $80 million was. Hummus enema, that they enforced, they mix hummus with spaghetti and some other stuff, and they would enema it into Iraqi captives, and some of them famous Iraqi captives as well. That was a part of the torture, and it would cause, what would they call it, anal dehydration. And I was like, they were force feeding them. I was like, $80 million. That?
Wow.
Because
that sounds so fake. Is that real? You've got to send me the link after. I've got to read this story.
Fuck it. I'm not fucking with you here, man. I couldn't believe it.
I believe it. I believe it. That sounds like some of the ridiculous shit we would come up with.
Let me torture. The thing was that it was the beginning of trying to find ways to torture somebody without having a outer appearance to it. Like waterboarding was one of them.
Gotcha.
One of the things that they came up with was like waterboarding.
That's nasty.
Yeah, at least CIA report 5 detainees were subjected to extreme medical practices, better known as nutrient enema as well.
Nutrient enema.
That's even worse.
I have no response to that. What the fuck?
Yeah.
All I know is I got in big trouble over Abu Ghraib. So, because I was still going through my training when that stuff happened, and I chose the wrong time to play a joke.
You got big trouble.
Well, kind of big trouble. I was still in a training phase of my military career, and what we used to do. Sorry for all the military stories. What we used to do when we liked our platoon sergeant. So the platoon sergeant's the person that kind of like they run the entire platoon, all the different soldiers. And sometimes you'd like your platoon sergeant, sometimes you wouldn't. But if we, particularly liked a platoon sergeant, we'd do funny stuff for them, because what they do on a regular basis is they'd come through and then check your rooms and make sure that everything's squared away. And if we had kind of starting to got a feel for our platoon, so I thought we were cool. We'd start pushing the boundaries a little bit about what we could do. So me and my roommate, we would dress up our room for inspection, and we'd have, all sorts of pornography posters all over the wall, like really grotesque pornography with tape covering like the naughty spots and stuff, just really funny, nasty, obscene stuff. And so the next day in formation, the platoon sergeant would come out and be like, Davis, Cam, y'all are some nasty motherfuckers. Nobody cares that you're into midget porn and sheep, right? And everybody bust out laughing, right? So fast forward maybe about a year. This is right around when Abu Ghraib's happening. And, I was telling my roommate, I was like, hey man, Sergeant Davis is cool. I want to do I want to do the room prank. Like, yeah, man, let's do it. So we went to the adult novelty store and we bought all sorts of crazy crap. We went all out, right? I got like a big ass dildo. I got lotion. I had an inflatable sheep. I had a Hello Kitty poster. I had Brad Pitt, who was like all like naked and sweated up. I had like a dancing monkey in the corner. And so, we're standing out in formation that day. And I'm thinking early, like during the day, I was all like happy about it. I was like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. And like I started getting this feeling in my stomach, like, man, this don't feel right. Something feels wrong. Like, and I was asking my roommate, I said, hey man, you feel a little bit weird? Like, like maybe we went over the line a bit. He's like, yeah. All of a sudden the door gets kicked open and this line of like drill sergeants comes marching out. Like, Davis, Cam, post. Like, oh fuck. And they come out with a trash bag and they dump all of our shit on the grass in front of 200 people. Big ass floppy dildo and inflatable sheep. Pick up your shit, privates. So I pick up the sheep, I put it under one hand. I pick up the dildo, I got it in the other hand. And they're like making us do push-ups and sit-ups and like do all these exercises in front of them. And like, I'm like scared, but at the same time, like I look over the drill sergeant and he's trying his best not to laugh while I'm like doing sit-ups and the dildos hit me in the face. He's trying so hard at it. He's like, do push-ups. So like, and so like after all of that was over, they did it for like an hour. And so I finally get marched in to talk to the commander, and the commander's like, what were you thinking? And I was like, I was thinking that Sergeant Davis is an awesome platoon sergeant and wanted Sergeant Davis to remember us. And he's like, well, there's a couple problems with that. He's like, number one, Sergeant Davis is a female. So that's considered sexual harassment, what you did. And while she didn't take it that way, the sergeant major that was doing the walkthrough with her saw that shit and thought we were sexually harassing our NCO. And he's like, and by the way, with this whole Abu Ghraib stuff and sexual harassment being like the number one thing everyone's talking about in this military, he's like, you just fucked up and now we have to make an example out of you. So that's the super long story of how I got in trouble because of Abu Ghraib, but it was totally worth it because before we left that station, that platoon sergeant took a picture of us with the sheep. So
okay. Shit. Yeah. The ball's on you though.
Well, we thought it was fun. It's cool. There are cool parts to the military. I mean, you build a camaraderie and a friendship, and you get to meet people, and that part's cool. But there's bad parts too. Like you get indoctrinated. You forget how to think in the military. Like you literally forget how to think. Like you may be marching in formation, and or you not even in formation. They call you to formation, and your body just does it. You don't even think. And I think that's one of the problems too. Not even just it's with the military, but also with the American people, is that we're in just kind of like this snap to think mode. We've been told what to think, what to feel, who not to question, who to question. And we've forgotten those, and those are really valuable skills. Don't believe just because some media outlet that you subscribe to says this is the story. Listen to it from both sides. Listen to Iranians. Like, what's your perspective? Like, what do you think's going on? What are the things that you're angry about or that bother you? Instead of just eating up this crap that we're being served, so that we fall in line and hold the flag up high and think that we're doing the right thing.
Shit. By the way, the name of the psychologist, one of them, if you want to check him out, his name is James Mitchell. And James Mitchell. And he has also a video on, he's the guy who helped out CIA with another partner of his to come up with the whole sets of tortures that are technically not torture, making people like being in a difficult positions, hummus enema, waterboarding. I don't know if he came up with the I don't know. I think that one is behind him. That one is another guy. This one is quite famous in Asia to torture people. They put a phone book on your back and they hit it with a hammer.
Ooh.
So you won't really feel, you won't have bruises, but you will have the shock. So the pain distributes very quickly into you, but you won't have the marking of a hammer or anything. So yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, James Mitchell. He has an interview on there's a paper on him also on WikiLeaks that the payment was made and how much they did. I really think like they went and snorted cocaine and banged a lot of hookers for a couple of days, and they reached the deadline. It's like, dude, we gotta come up with something.
Hummus, spaghetti, asses.
Yeah. We're all set, dude. Put it in our ass.
When I looked up James Mitchell, my Google, the first thing that came up was hummus recipe. I'm not eating that dude's hummus. I know where it's been.
Yeah, that one is organically made human produced hummus.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I can't believe that's an actual thing.
The fact that like that was the thing. That was the joke, is like, you guys wasted $80 million on this. So you wonder why the fuck you don't have a proper healthcare.
It is insane. Jesus.
That $80 million could have saved a lot of people a lot of trouble.
That's probably not the worst of it. I bet there's more.
Oh, there fucking is, for sure. Fuck, man. Well, it's what it is. And they're still using it.
They're still using it.
Oh, yeah. It's not disbanded, dude. Just because people got shocked by it doesn't mean that it's not an effective method.
You would never see that in a movie, though. Like, the bad guy's never going to threaten James to shove hummus up James Bond's ass.
No, you won't see what's it called, Josh Brolin from Sicario bending somebody over, putting a tube up their ass.
Like, you're not gonna like this. It's spicy hummus.
It's spicy. Got your favorite meal, curry powder.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, no. So yeah, I don't know. People find better ways to torture each other than fucking getting along with each other, I guess.
That's true. We need more dialogue. We need more people to be willing to reconsider their position. You don't have to agree with what you hear. Just at least listen to it and think about what was said.
The thing is like I don't think it's like the World War III when it happens, which is not, I don't think it's quite far away. I think after that people might listen. Right now it's all the philosophy of like, I'm gonna make bigger guns than your bigger guns, and we're surveillancing each other a little bit too much. That's really the cause of the issue. I think it's like, I know you're listening in the things I'm trying to do. So I'm going to do the same. Now you have an F-16. Now I want to make an F-22. It's you make a rocket that is not traceable. So why did you make that? So I guess I have to make the rocket that is not traceable. So,
did you ever watch a movie? And it's an old movie, and you're probably too young to remember this movie. It's called Dr. Strangelove.
Yes, love
that.
That
is a surprisingly pertinent movie for this day and age.
Yeah.
And more people who haven't seen that should watch it. It's I remembered watching it back in the day, and then one of my sons, or both my kids, they're film and TV majors, and he was talking about that movie, and I was like, man, I watched that and I thought it was stupid. And he's like, let's watch it again. We watched it again. I was like, oh my God, this is just like right now.
This is exactly awesome. It's a freaking prophecy. He saw it. He was true, and he really presented it as, the thing is like, nobody in that movie was really smart or sharp. Like, it wasn't nobody was really intelligent. Like, even the guy who made the nuclear weapon, or
he was nuts.
The Nazi, just everybody were a little kooky.
Just like James Mitchell or Donald Trump.
Mitchell or Donald Trump, yes.
Yeah, what's the UK one? Fucking Boris Johnson. Yeah, Boris. You got the guy in Brazil. Shit. Oh, what is the Brazilian president? Yeah, it's basically a Trump clone. The name escapes me at the moment. I got to look him up. But anyway, you got this whole breed of stupidity, of idiocracy that's built into our politics and the decision making, and we're content by
arguably not really smart people.
Bolsonaro, that was his name, Bolsonaro.
Is that the horny guy who had his name tattooed on the back of his wife's neck?
I think so. Yeah. I don't know that. I think that might be him.
Yeah, he wrote a poetry book called The Red or something. It's all about sex.
I haven't read that yet. Now I'm interested. I'm intrigued. I want to hear that.
Oh, don't bother. It's horrible. It's like he wants to present himself as a extremely passionate character, and it's all comes out as like, oh God, you're horrible, you're cringeworthy. And he's like Berlusconi of Italy. I don't know if you know Berlusconi.
No.
Yeah, Berlusconi. I don't think he's the prime minister anymore, but he's the used to be the prime minister of Italy, and he like there are pictures of him in orgies. It's like banging one girl after another, and he can't, like they say, like his dick just doesn't go down. He needs to have sex all the time. So he is kind of like him, and he's like presenting himself as this macho lover of like he knows the ways of love that nobody understands. So, so
Standing erect for your president. I understand that. I could get behind that.
yeah, it's fucking Italians are even having it worse. So yeah, it's all like these weird guys that are not really necessarily intelligent, making decisions that are not gonna amount to anything. Like anybody who's relevantly smart gets shot or dies before even has a chance to amount to anything in their life.
Yeah. It's moving people, it's moving power around, and it's scary what's happening, and how little we all care. But in this day and age, it's so hard to pay attention. Like
Yeah.
half the stories you referenced tonight, I know a little bit about, but not a lot. And
Yeah.
that's just a tiny piece of all the stuff that's going on worldwide.
Fucking Australia, but they were having orgies in the parliament.
Really?
Oh, you did? Oh, that's the recent news. In the house of in the place that they're supposed to be making decisions, they're fucking their secretary. It was weird. This was like this
let's
was
be
2
real
months
though.
ago.
But let's be real. If we were in Parliament in Australia, you'd be down.
Yeah, actually.
Yeah, come on. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, actually. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, it's like fucking the heat and everybody's hot and it's a
There you go.
Hey, let's go.
Hey, Bill Clinton was doing it in the Oval Office, so that's nothing new to me. I mean,
hey, I would have like, why wouldn't you do it in Oval Office?
I would have picked somebody better than Monica Lewinsky, though. I mean, come on.
He did fuck Elizabeth Hurley.
Okay, that definitely. I didn't know that. Is that true?
Yeah. He flew him in. He flew her in. Private jet.
Just for that.
Just for, what else? What else?
I'm like, how do you broach that topic? Like, you gotta have some big balls. Like, Bill Clinton had balls, and I can imagine him getting away with that conversation.
Bill Clinton was a charming motherfucker. Okay.
I want you to fly down and suck this presidential staff.
Oh yeah. Oh. He was charming. He knew how to speak. He knew how to dress up, and he was very cool with Epstein. So I'm pretty sure that one very, very easily came about. For God's sake, it's like you think, like I was thinking, like, man, Middle East is very fucked up. You guys had a guy who had an island not off the coast of Manhattan who fucked kids. Who president of the United States flew in on his private jet, who was called Lolita Express 27 times. He used to fucking rape kids. I mean, God's sake, man.
That's another story I have not heard.
You haven't heard about Epstein?
Oh, I know about Jeffrey Epstein, but you're talking about Trump having. I know he flew out there, but I didn't know he had a regular visit.
Oh no, sorry. I was talking about Bill Clinton being close to him, not Trump. Trump was close to him as well, because there were videos of him, and there were having a laugh on during some session. This was like years ago before he becomes a president. And when Ghislaine Maxwell, he's Jeffrey Epstein's partner, was like being trialed, he said, "Oh, I wish her the best." They were like, she's being trialed for pedophilia. Oh, I wish her the best.
Jesus.
So I was like going like, all right, so we're not the only ones that are fucked up here. You guys are having a guy who is like to this day they don't want to talk about how he killed himself, if he killed himself, which we all know he didn't.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah,
And
he
then,
locked himself in the cell.
yeah,
Epstein, right? Yeah.
yeah, definitely. His jaw was cracked on 7 different places, and we found seven. He stabbed himself 70 times in the face before he
In the
hanged
back, in the
himself.
back too. Like,
In the back. Ah, they raped 7 people, raped him before he died. What are you talking about? It's that guy is like the guy was nobody knows he's a Mossad agent. He was a what was he? Nobody can talk. Nobody talks about it. He worked on high level shit.
you've given me a bunch of topics to edify myself on this evening.
Well,
But it's gonna,
Epstein was fascinating because it was scary for me. I was going like, yeah, this is like that much power, and
it's curious, what happens to you when you get that much money and power? Like, how does that change you as a person? Like, how do your life goals, how do your priorities change? Like when you can have anything you want, right?
Epstein, for my case, I think he was a psychopath. He was a well-functioning psychopath, and he had I don't know how true it is. He had a deformity in his dick. The guy asks him, and you can see it on YouTube. The lawyer asks him, "Is it true that you have an egg-shaped penis?"
What the hell, an egg-shaped penis?
Yeah, the
That
guy
could be a good
asks
thing or a
him,
bad thing, right?
and he
He's got like, a bird egg or like an ostrich egg. I mean, that could be
that could be bad, but
that could be bad either way. But
you could see it's on a part of his I don't know if it's called interrogation or hearing. I don't know what you call that in the court system there, but it's like him in a room with his lawyer and some other lawyers questioning him. And the guy questions him. He says that one of your victims said you had an egg-shaped penis. Is that true? A few of his victims apparently said a deformed penis. And he just looks, and he like takes out the earpiece and like walks away, but he can't leave the room. He has to like sit back down. And the thing is that the reason I bring that up is that people, like a lot of the serial killers, not all of them, but like who were into forcing themselves and raping and things as such, all had the similar trait of actually having a deformed nether region or having a micro penis.
I have not heard that either. So I've got Australian Parliament, I've got egg-shaped penises, I've got what's his face? I've got hummus enemas. You have given me a lot to catch up on tonight.
Yeah, so fuck, man. Sorry about that. I feel bad now.
So be wary of any guy with an egg-shaped penis.
Egg-shaped penis or a micro penis, because his inadequacy might actually force him to. I got that from Mindhunter. They were actually comparing real cases. I got it from the book, not the TV show. That the detective was like the real life detective from Quantico who started psychoanalyzing the people, the murderers. It was like, oh, all of them, like not all of them, but some of them had the weird nether region, which really caused their ego to go apeshit.
That is interesting.
So Epstein, on that hand, was like at least like forced himself of some of these girls. I was like, okay, that guy was fucking nuts.
There are hookers for that. I'm just saying,
It feels better if they resist. It feels better. I'm pretty sure
you can pay for that too. I mean, I'm sure like there's got to be options.
I don't know, man. I don't know. It fucking sucks. But hey, Elizabeth Hurley sucked Clinton's dick in the Oval Office and banged him on multiple occasions. I don't blame him. People are like, John F. Kennedy used to do it before him. I'm pretty sure everybody used to do it. Come on.
Oh, John had style, though. John was cool. He was like the last cool president.
Really? You think so?
I think so. But then again, he was before my time. Right. And maybe I just like him because I share my birthday with his death day. So
oh, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Mr. President.
No, I liked him because of the whole Northwoods incident, and he just seemed like an interesting, like, yeah, okay, fine, he couldn't keep it in his pants, but I mean that's not exactly shocking if you're in a position of power. I mean, I think a lot of us would have a little issue if people were throwing it your way,
yeah,
just left and right. I could give him a pass on that, but Yeah. Um, I don't know. It's just been it was a shit show before that too, though. So
Yeah,
um,
fucking
at
can't
least
blame
based
it.
on what I read. Yeah.
Hey, what's the point of having power if the girls are not throwing themselves at you and you're not fucking banging
Exactly.
away? That's
I can't believe Trump still got elected when they got him on tape saying that thing. Where he's like, "Yeah, just go up to a girl and grab her by the pussy." I'm
yeah.
like, "Holy shit, that's your president!" And like, it's so funny. His conservative base is so religious, and like they just don't listen to that, or they just don't hear that, or it's
I
so strange.
it will. The thing is like people really manage to pass it off as guy talk.
Guy talk.
People, I feel like people pass it as that. I think that's how it happened. It was like, he was with his buddy in the bus, and we're like, fuck yeah, grab her by the pussy. Everybody talks like that when they're together, which I still think to some of my friends, like saying you grab a girl by the pussy is a very strange way of putting it.
That is. I don't even go for the handshake. I just go straight for the snatch grab. I mean, that's
Yeah.
that's a weird way to.
Mm. Let's
I don't think
break the ice.
I don't think I'm ever gonna have enough money to be able to try that.
No, I don't think so. Even like no matter how charming and handsome you would be, if you start
Mhm.
your opening starter would be, "Hey, how's it going, sister?"
I wish it
uh,
was. I wish I could though. I would appreciate that kind of handshake, but no.
yeah.
no.
How about a hello first, man? How about a kiss? How about you buy me dinner at least? What,
Well,
brother? I already taken too much of your time. Just
no,
wanted
it's been
to
great.